right, welcome everyone. So today, let's talk about more about this Chiron wound. It's extremely important to continue having this conversation. I feel very drawn to continue having um, a little bit more explanation than I had in the previous video. So we have a very rare and important collective healing available through this conjunction with Chiron and in Aries, and the North Node being in Aries. And the conjunction happens on the 19th of February, along with the Mars, which is the ruling planet of Aries, and Pluto, which is all about personal power and the underworld, what is out of sync with your desires, and what is specifically, because it's happening in Aquarius, what is out of sync with your idea of utopia, because Uranus is one of the ruling planets for Aquarius, which is about your personal heaven on earth, or your personal idea of your dreams coming true, your personal idea of your own utopia. So, and it's about strengthening you as an individual in order to be the best support of the collective, for the collective. So, we have this beautiful opportunity, and it may not feel so beautiful, which is why it's very helpful to have someone who has walked through it, who can tell you how incredibly liberating it is to be on the other side of it, and to give you some guidance through my personal experience and research on the subject. So we'll be finding out how to find the Chiron wound, which is your deepest wound you have had your entire life. In fact, pre-existence, prior to coming into this life, you would have planned for dynamics to play out in that wounded state. So you would have maybe planned family dynamics, or uh, you know, maybe where you live, things like that. There would have been things that you had placed in where you decided to be born, would have been built into even that wound. This wound triggers a sense of not just vulnerability, but this inability to be able to heal, because it's so deep. It's like the original wound. So Chiron, being the centaur that he was, he was conceived in trauma. He was born into trauma. His mother immediately rejected him um, and abandoned him. So immediately upon birth, there was trauma. And then he received an extensive education and through Apollo and Artemis. And then he accidentally got a physical wound. And because he was an immortal, he wasn't able to die. And because the wound was created it was actually Hercules that shot the arrow through who he intended. It went through the person he intended to shoot, and it had essentially God quality, God, there we go, God quality poison on the wound, and it shot through the person it was intended for and hit Chiron in the leg. So he was wounded, and because it was God quality poison, it couldn't be healed, even though he was a healer. So this is where he gets the name wounded healer from. And so many people have made, not so many people, every one of us have made significant life choices trying to essentially outrun or outdo. We would have made decisions in our life to try, from an action or an external perspective point of view, try to heal or create a sense of that wound, that lack, that vulnerability, that shame, the guilt that comes along with it, trying to out manifest it, going through, extensive healing, energy work, all kinds of things to be able to get to that wound. But what happened is it's so integrated into our bodies. It's so deep, and it's so integrated with most decisions that we have made. And most wounds that we have held within our bodies have been subsequent of this original wound. So this is an extremely extraordinary and very beautiful opportunity that we have with the planets aligning ever so nicely. If you remember from the cartoon of Hercules, the planets aligning ever so nicely in our favor to be able to finally liberate ourselves, have a bridge from the wounded self that we were to essentially the star or God self that we are. Now, if you look at tarot, the Aquarian energy that we're now in is represented through the star card. When when Chiron, he gave up his mortality in order to be able to die so that he wouldn't have to continue with that excruciating pain. And he actually ended up living as a mortal for not about 900 years, I believe it was 900 years, teaching other centaurs how to, giving them an education because they were brutes. Okay. And so he gave them an education. And then 900 years later, he died. When he gave up his mortality, he gave it to Prometheus. Now, here's the really cool thing about this is that Prometheus, so all of our planets and the zodiacs are from Greek mythology, from Greek gods. They're actually named, the planets are all named after Roman gods, but the Romans gods were derived originally from the Greek gods. Okay. So Prometheus, even though the ruling planets are Saturn and Uranus, um, Aquarius is Prometheus. I mean, it's just so Chiron, he gives up his immortality to save Prometheus from this punishment that Zeus had given him because Prometheus had offended Zeus by making a decision in support of humanity. Now, in Greek mythology, Prometheus is the one that created man. And when the the Greek god Zeus was angry with Prometheus, he punished him by chaining him to the pillar or the column and had his liver eaten out every day by this but by an eagle, and the eagle, or excuse me, the liver would grow back every night, so the eagle would come back every day. So he was living this torture implemented by Zeus for going against him, because Zeus had taken fire away from man. Prometheus stole fire back by lighting the torch on the sun. Anyway, so when Chiron decides that what he needs to do for himself in order to die because he couldn't handle the excruciating pain that he was in, he gave his immortality up to save Prometheus. He gave it to Prometheus. And Hercules was the one that went and actually freed Prometheus. Okay? So it all just ties together really nicely. Now, when Chiron did die, Prometheus honored him and put him back to his god state as a constellation in the skies. So we have now in Aquarian energy, Chiron conjuncting the North Node. The North Node is all about your destiny, right? Fulfilling your purpose, the reason that you're here, the most satisfying, being able to realize and live within your dream life. All those things are held within what is you're most passionate about, and that is held in your North Node. Okay, so we have Chiron conjuncting it. So personally, for me, as I continued and more determined to follow what felt I was strongly being called to and very interested in doing, as far as my purpose work, the wound would get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. Okay. And so, and I would say to my higher self, let me see, I would like to see your perspective, your perspective, your perspective. And I would get a glimpse of it. And I would see my higher self's perspective for a very short period of time and then slingshot back to this wound that was so painful inside of me. And yet it just continued to create more determination to follow my personal path, my personal calling. And when I saw that Chiron, and I had not put these pieces together at all, but when I had seen that Chiron was going direct December 26th, something inside of me, something, right? My higher self, right? Something inside of me said, take a look at this. And it was like Mercury was pointing in Sagittarius time towards Chiron. Okay, now Chiron is Sagittarius because Sagittarius is a centaur, half man, half horse. Okay. So so during this time I was like, okay, I need to look at this. And I researched it, listening to my higher self's guidance, like, look here, look here, look here. And I researched this and I was shown how to unlock the Chiron wound within myself. And that's what I want to show you guys today. And I don't think that I really stated it very clearly. So I wanted to touch back for just a moment and say that being this Aquarius time, Prometheus being the one that blessed Chiron by, as a parting gift, um, putting him back into the stars in his godlike state. As we heal this Chiron wound, that's what I'm talking about, is you being able to be in harmony with the God self within you. Okay. And the God self is the creator part of you, you being able to create your own reality. Okay. So this is the goal. And this is why we've been doing healing after healing after healing after healing for how many years we've been doing healing. And it has felt like we have been whittling down to this original wound to be able to purge it now and be able to now, instead of experiencing our life from a wounded state where we were learning about ourselves through suffering, we will now be able to learn about ourselves through realizing our dreams, following that call. Okay. And having and being and doing all of the things that we decided for ourselves or have preferred for ourselves without this hindrance of this negative, out of whack energy happening inside of our bodies and continuing to repeat these cycles outside of ourselves because of the energy that keeps it. Uh, what? Well, I want to say repeating, but it's not necessarily repeating unless it's because I guess if that energy is repeating, it's because we're internally cycling back to that wound all of the time. But it's been persistent. Maybe that's what I was looking for. Persistent, this wound that's been persistent inside of us. Okay. And all these wounds stem from it. All these decisions stem from it. And that's what's made it so difficult. In order to heal something, you have to be able to isolate and identify the feeling of it. Okay, we'll go into, in my next video, we'll go into how to heal this wound. Today, what I want to do is go into how to find it in your natal chart. Now, you will have to know your time of birth. You'll need to know what your rising is in order to get your complete natal chart. And I have a link in the comments or the description there that gives you a link for an app called The Pattern. If you don't already have your natal chart, this is a free app. You can download and you can have your natal chart. So this is a screenshot. What I'm about to show you is a screenshot of my natal chart from The Pattern. But not all. Okay, here let's go to that. Let's go to that now. you need to look at what each of those houses represents. Okay. Again, you can do just a simple Google search. I'm going to give you a real quick rundown on some of the aspects of each of the houses. Okay, so it will help. But I strongly encourage each person to do their own search. If when I'm reading these things to you, if the two houses merging doesn't quite get you to, when I say it surfaces, what I mean is you are triggered, because this is where you are on those subjects. Okay, now every subject is energetically where you last left it off. And if this wound has not been healed, when I read these things and it begins to surface, it means you are going to feel triggered. You are going to feel raw, and you're going to be like, oh my God. And you are like, there it is, full picture that has been with me my entire life. Again, I strongly encourage each person to do their own search on this of what the houses represent, because I'm just going to give a quick overview of some of the things that are the houses represent. So go deeper if you feel like you need to. Okay. So give me 1 second here. I am going to look at my notes here. Okay. So the first house is the house of self. It offers insight on how you experience new situations, how you contend with beginnings, and how you respond to being seen. It's the house of self image, identity, personality, your physical body type, how you see yourself, and how you present yourself. Okay, so how you identify with yourself and how you initiate or approach life. Okay, that's the first house. The second house is the house that is related to our personal finances, our material possessions, the concept of value. What do you value? So while it does rule money, it also covers emotions, which live inside of us. So this would be an emotional body. Okay. So those people who have strong natal planets in the second house tend to seek security through their material world. Okay. So, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people want to be down on materialism, but some people are literally hardwired to identify through our material life. And we're here to experience material life, but we all have our own approach to it. Okay. So now the third house is communication. So the third house is communication, and it is not only written communication, it is verbal communication, it is media communication, it is how you communicate with other people. It is about intelligence, it's about awareness on any subject, and having an awareness on any subject in order to be able to convey a message with dexterity of mind. When I say dexterity of mind, I mean being able to look at things from a different perspectives, being able to connect dots that wouldn't normally be obvious. Okay, that's the third house. All right, so now we have the fourth house. The fourth house is home and family. So it reveals an individual's relationship with the mother. So if you've had a big wound with your mother, again, you would have pre-planned these things before you came into this world. So you may have given yourself a really difficult, mother dynamic. And so it's about, the relationship with your mother. It's also about how you personally look at or have a view of domesticity, domestic dwelling, life, home life. Okay. Let's see. So home, where you plant your roots, is where you find peace at your center, where you feel grounded. Let's see, where you receive your nurturing. It's also the ruling house of real estate and social norms, family traditions. So if you have felt socially awkward your entire life, this might be one of those things. Okay. This might be it. So, all right, moving on to the fifth house. The fifth house rules creativity, self expression, recreation, relationships, offspring. It is the house of pleasure. Okay. It is the house that revolves around both sensual desire and pure childlike fun. Let's see, art, culture, personal satisfaction, um, the risk to gain pleasure, takes risks to gain pleasure, and the pursuit, just a general pursuit of pleasure itself. Okay. Now the Leo is the ruling sign of the fifth house, the native ruler of the fifth house. So if anybody knows a Leo, they know that Leos aren't going to have anything to do with something that doesn't feel great to them. If it doesn't feel great to a Leo, that just they're not going to have anything to do with it. All right. So anyway, let's see. Let's move on to the sixth house. All right. So the sixth house also okay. So it represents things like pets, acts of service, humanitarianism, personal self care. Let's see. The sixth house. Oh, let's see. Sorry, I apologize for that. So it's health. It's physical health. Now, if you think about that, if it's health, it's physical health, it's mental health, it's emotional health. And if you think about also being the house of that rules the pets, think about pet service pets. Think about emotional. What are they called? Emotional support animals. There we go. Emotional support animals. That's a thing, and it's all contained there in the sixth house. So it also has to do with employment, training, so being an employer and training people. It has a sense of duty, responsibility. It is about strong personal growth, and it is around doing things that feel valuable and fulfilling to you. Okay. So Virgo is the ruling is the native ruler of the sixth house, and Virgos will essentially let the work speak for them itself. They will put in all the work and they will let things shine or want things to shine due to their efforts on behalf of other people. So it's a strong sense of duty for towards service to humanity. Okay, so now we're moving on to the seventh house. The seventh house is the house of relationships and partnerships. So this is about moving away from yourself to now connect with other people. So it's the ruling native ruler of the seventh house is Libra. Libra is a cardinal sign of love. So that is about moving out of your original family dynamics to find love, and to find your partner. It is about partnerships within business, and relationships with everyone. All of your relationship dynamics are held within the seventh house. So let's see. It's also about accomplishing something through cooperation. And let's see here, seeing yourself in context of interacting with other people. So this is about getting to know yourself through relationships. Okay. All right, so moving to the eighth house, and the eighth house is, let's see, the native ruler is Scorpio. This is about transformation. It's about intimacy. It's about it's about light. Sorry, unra- unraveling. Sorry, it's about unraveling life's mysteries. Okay, and it can be it's linked to other people's money, as in inheritances. It's not earned money, which would be a Taurus thing or second house thing. Second house, I didn't say that, but is the native ruler of that house is Taurus. So where that would be earned money. Now in the eighth house, we're talking about inheritances, we're talking about commissions, bonuses, and we're talking about the idea of like deep rooted family money, legacy money. Okay, either you're gaining it for being, it's important to you to gain money in order to leave a legacy, or you are in a position where you have received, maybe a trust fund, right? That kind of thing. Okay, so and it's also about merging. So if the house prior to that was all about relationships, now this house is about merging resources and finances, and about using resources that come together for the best way, for their best use. Okay. And it's also about facing fears. So the Scorpion house, the house of death and rebirth, can have really deep, like, phobia. Okay, like they can feel like they've had like really deep phobias that they've never been able to release, because it is about fear itself in this house, really facing fear. All right, so that may be a thing if you feel like you have had deep, deep phobias that they feel very real to you, but not so real to other people. And this, one of your either your moon or your Chirons is in that house. That may be something that you have the ability to completely relieve at this point, and heal from your chart in your body. Okay. So let me see if I missed anything there with the Scorpio. So getting the most out of relationships. And it's about, so Scorpios are about wanting to reach the highest possible state of being within a lifetime. That's why they go from the scorpion to the eagle, or the scorpion to the phoenix, right? So they have this desire. That's why they continue to, Scorpios tend to always be reinventing themselves so that they can become the best version, the next best version, the next best version, and trying to make the very most out of the versions of their life that they can possibly be. That there's just a strong pull for that. Okay. Uh, let's see. So that constant death and rebirth. Let's see where. Um, yeah, they're and leaving things behind in order to reinvent themselves. Okay. So it's also about, they also have a strong notice of restrictions and will push against restrictions to overcome them. Okay, so they're going to push against that. Let's see. Okay, so now the ninth house. What does the ninth house represent? The ninth house, the native ruler of this is Sagittarius. It's all about philosophy. It's all now. Now, Sagittarius is, as we know, it's a fire sign. They're very active. They want to learn about everything in life as much as they can, the philosophy behind everything through physical interaction with it. Okay. They want to learn by physically experiencing as much as they can, or this house is a ruler of that sort of dichotomy, is experiencing as much as possible. Let's see. It's connected to all things expansive, thoughts, travel, higher level of education, philosophy. Uh, it deals with belief systems, religion, morals, and ethics. Okay, that's contained in the ninth house. The 10th house, because I've got two sets of notes here, one on paper and one on the screen. The 10th house is social status, famous, becoming famous, success, your life's work. And it reflects your outer world and how you see other people. Okay. Let's see. So it's the opposite of the fourth house, which the fourth house governs your inner life. And the 10th house governs your exterior life. And it's also, it speaks to your relationships with society as a whole. So it's about government, it's about governing rules, it's about it's about organization, the beliefs that govern you and your actions. What do you believe? And it's Capricorn, right? So if we just had Pluto in Capricorn for how long? And this is what we were all looking at. What beliefs govern me? What am I internally answering to? Not everybody's answering to the same laws or rules, the same restrictions, the same things, not the same things govern every single person. And that's been difficult for, people who are wanting, fairness in this life. They're It's important to understand that each person gets to decide what they are um, abiding by. Okay. And that's their belief. And if that's your belief, law of attraction is supporting that. It supports everything that you believe. Okay. Now, that beliefs aren't always working in your favor. That's why in the tarot, it's the devil card. What are you chained to? So this is what we've been looking at. What kind of things were we chained to that we were holding on so tightly and believing? And now we're letting go of, and we're beginning to understand that we all have that ability to rule and govern our own selves and our own lives, and we get to choose what governs us. So that is contained in that 10th house. Okay, what governs you? Your career, your work, authority, all of those things. Okay. Now let's move to the 11th house, which is the native ruler is Aquarius. Again, Saturn and Uranus. We talked about that earlier. And this is about friendships, authenticity, strength in numbers, the power of the collective, networking, activity in groups to grow, for growth, activity in groups for growth, and actualizing your true self. So this is a really powerful time that the sun is in Aquarius. Extremely powerful time for us to be like really activating with this potential to heal this wound right now, to activate our true selves and live in harmony with our higher self. Okay. So let's see what, if I have different notes over here. Uh, all right. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like I pretty much covered everything. All right. Now the 12th house. The 12th house is essentially, it's ruled by the native ruler is Pisces. The two ruling planets is Jupiter and Neptune. And the 12th house is the subconscious. It's literally the sign of spirit itself. It is awareness of everything. Okay. Simply the awareness behind all of it. It's the unseen realm. It's the subconscious. It's the, let's see, it's, the awareness of what you behold, what awareness of what you behold as worthiness. Oh, worthiness, self-worthiness, self-worth comes from this 12th house, about success and failure. All right. It's the house of reckoning. It's the house of really looking at, like, who am I? Really looking at where I have placed my attention, the house of reckoning. So your your awareness in any direction is going to be a continuous feedback or loop, right? Where you're placing your attention is continually what you're getting back. So this would be a reckoning. All right. It is about unhooking from past attachments to ease into future lives. So you're unhooking from maybe past lives or um, patterns, and or the karma from previous lives. So this is where you unhook from those, and you now have an ease into future lives. So, and which can be, this is a very like what airy sign, right? It's the unseen. So trying to describe this is interesting in itself, because what I'm seeing here is that what's coming to mind is this energy work that I had done with a particular client. And when I was viewing her past lives, I also saw a future life. And then as I listened to her higher self and her guides, and what and assist, I don't know that I really assist, I just more was observing the healing that was happening for her and holding space for that, right? This healing that she received. Once the healing was complete, I was then given another vision of that same future life, and what played out was different, in fact, at her birth. So what she would have been born into, the circumstances that she would have been born into would have still been connected to those wounds from the previous life. And then when we healed all those previous lives in that session, I was able to see that now the circumstances she was born into about that future life were very different and very, very beautiful. So it was an interesting, that's what I'm getting here is like, okay, healing the past, you have the opportunity to heal past karmic lifetimes, cycles in this sign. And so that you can now create a different future for you as a soul spirit moving on. Okay. So it also indicates what you are attached to and what you, oh, well, essentially, of course, that's what I just said. Same thing here is what you as a person are attached to that you must let go of for your spiritual growth. It is very charitable, a very positive transformation sign. It's all about positive transformation. Okay, so that is essentially, again, like I said, I'd like to see each of you just do your own research on each of these houses. And once you get a trigger and you're like, oh my God, I can see essentially the whole picture, this whole wound, it's been there my whole life. Now you know that you have been able to isolate it, and now you can heal it. And in my next video, I will go a little bit deeper into we'll discuss how to heal that wound. Okay. Thank you everybody for being here. It is such an honor. It is really such an honor to be present at this time space reality on this planet with so many light workers, so many masters of light, such as yourself. Even if you're not feeling it right now in this moment, the truth is that if you're interested in pursuing your best life and you're here on this planet now, you are a master of light. Unequivocally, undoubtedly, you are a master of light, and it is an honor to be here with you. And I would love to hear your comments about how this is going for you, what you were able to discover, and my my blessings and prayers go out to each one of you that you'll essentially be able to have a full recovery from this significant wound so that you can, in fact, be confident in pursuing your dreams. And again, in future videos, we'll talk about how to heal that and then about how to stabilize after you've healed it. Okay. I love you guys, and I hope to see you on the next videos. Thank you for being here.